everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon. This is Moondog, and you're here with TMI Live, and that is too much information where we're going to be going over the videos I posted up this week, as well as getting you in to some of the projects that I'm working on this week and some of the reviews, and maybe getting some of your input on that. Now, we have a special guest today. We have my friend Will, which will be joining us a little later in the program, but he is our special guest, an illustrator, and you may be familiar with his work on G.I. Joe and Green Lantern, but I'm very excited that he's going to be joining us today. Now, before we get started, I'd like to put a little plug out there for my sponsor, my service that I use, Aura.com, which I use to help protect me when I'm online. They offer a wealth of services, a whole suite of services. Now, you may be familiar with companies out there. You might even use companies for a VPN, like companies like NordVPN or ExpressVPN or Surfshark to protect you when you're on public Wi-Fi. Or you might have a credit monitoring company like Experian or LifeLock, or you might have a data broker removal service like Incogni. Well, Aura bundles all of these services into one company. So instead of paying like a half a dozen different companies to protect you when you're online, you can just go with Aura. And they offer all of these services, plus they give you $1 million in identity theft insurance. And I'm giving you the opportunity to try them out for free. If you use my link, aura.com/moondog, and you sign up, you get 14 days free, absolutely free. You can try them out, see how you like them. One of the great services I keep on mentioning, and I still think it's very impressive, is when you sign up and you get that data broker removal service. Well, you can try them out. You can use that for those 14 days, and you can get yourself removed from, who knows, probably dozens of different data brokers out there. And these are companies that buy and sell. Yeah, it's legal. They buy and sell our information, our names, our addresses, our addresses, phone numbers, even partial social security numbers can be bought and sold by these companies to other marketing agencies, political organizations, other, who knows, entities out there, because a lot of our information is actually publicly available, unfortunately. But, whenever you pay your taxes or you buy some property or whatever online, a lot of municipalities, well, they have our information and it's publicly available. Well, these companies buy and trade our information out there. And wouldn't you rather have all that information gone? Well, if you use a data broker removal service, you can do that. They will automatically go out there and formally request these companies remove your information from their databases. That's great. That also means you're going to get less spam. You're going to get less robocalls. So try them out. Try aura.com/moondog for free for 14 days. And let me know in the comments of this video how they worked for you. All right, I want to say, it looks like we got a bunch of folks who've already joined us on the side chat, and I just want to call them out real quick here. We got Tim was the first one. He even says first out there, and we have my buddy Hillbilly, American Hillbilly, out there, and we have Vadim. We have Paul Clemens, Tom Burton. We got Abigail and Michael Dunn. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us out there. Now, for those of you who joined early, well, I'm going to give you a clue, because every episode I like to give away something. And this episode, we're going to be giving away, I'll bring this up here. I'm giving away 3 patches from Burris, and this is of their Fast Fire. And you can win one of these patches. All you have to do is type in the hashtag on the right, in the chat section, the answer to who this mystery company is. And I'm going to bring up a clue here for you. I'll read this off here. This brand, this is a toy company, and their products include Transformers, G.I. Joe, Power Rangers, Rom the Space Knight. Okay, I'm dating myself. If you know who Rom the Space Knight is, you're probably Gen X or older. So, and Micronauts for that matter, and Mask, Monopoly, Furby, Nerf, Mr. Potato Head, Bop It, Play-Doh, Twister, and My Little Pony. So this company makes all of these products. So hopefully you'll be familiar with who this is. Type in a hashtag and their name, and you'll be automatically entered into the contest, and I'll do the drawing at the end of this episode. And all you have to do is, if you are chosen as a winner, then just email me and send an email to me at moondogairsoft@gmail.com. And let me just put that into the side chat for everybody. so that you don't have to remember that. And okay, I will post it up right now. But if you are the winner, send me an email, let me know that you won, and put the company's name in the subject line, and also send me your address if you are a winner. That way I know where to send these patches off to. Okie dokie. All right, so let's get on to our new video so we have more time to talk to our special guest. The first video that I posted up earlier this week was of a video review. Well, it was a video of me shooting a scope that I previously reviewed. And this is part of Boomstick's challenge, budget rimfire ammo rifle and budget scope challenge. So everything, the scope and the rifle has to be under $700 in total. That includes the scope and the rifle, and you have to shoot budget ammo. So in this particular video, I shot Federal Auto Match, and a lot of people think that have really good experience with Federal Auto Match. And previously, a few weeks ago, I did a test. I did the same challenge target, but with Aguila Super Extra. So I will show you just a little bit of what one of the targets, because you shoot a couple of these different targets, and I just wanted to show you what I was shooting. This was at 50 yards, by the way. I don't know if you had a chance to shoot Auto Match and what you think of it, but this is a little snippet of my experience. Not bad, to start off with. Pretty near that dot, which I was you're trying to hit all of the dots. And the first really wide flyer. Yes, I was trying to aim at that dot, and I don't know, probably like 2 or 3 inches above that dot. Okay, so my next shot was on the next dot. Okay, at least I hit the edge of it, so that counts. Right on top. Great. Okay, maybe I just needed to warm up the barrel or something. We're doing really good. And the next shot, also right on the dot. So far, yeah. Looks like Federal Auto Match is shooting pretty well. Oh no! Okay, so yeah, this is the problem I had with Auto Match, is that it would shoot really well until it didn't. When it didn't, it was pretty often. So Tim's asking, which ammo are you using? I'm using Federal Auto Match 22 long rifle in my Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle at 50 yards. So it is what it is. And part of the challenge was you're supposed to use bulk ammo. You couldn't even use CCI standard velocity, because they had to be cheaper than that. So you can use any kind of ammo as long as it's cheap bulk box stuff in your rifle, as long as your rifle is worth and the scope and the rifle is worth $700, then that qualifies you to take part of the challenge. So yeah, it is what it is. And that was part of, I posted a video of that. And by the way, if you're wondering which scope I was using a Discovery Optics LHD, which is about $250. So very, very affordable scope. And the other video I posted up was of my booth visit from SHOT Show. And I went to the Burris booth, and they had a ton of new things that they were showing off. They've updated their regular scope line, but they had this new scope that the XTR PS to really show off. And this thing is pretty tricked out. It's got an heads-up display inside of the scope, and you pair it with their phone app on your phone, and it'll give you ballistic calculations. It'll show you how much of an adjustment you need to do depending on the data inputs you put onto the phone. It's pretty sci-fi, and I would love to get my hands on this. I'm sure it's going to be a pretty pricey scope to have all these cool features, but it was a pretty neat. Have you guys heard of this, or any scope that gives you like a heads-up display inside of the scope? I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that's too gimmicky, or do you think I think that's going to be the way things are going to go, to be perfectly honest. I mean, it's kind of a gimmick right now, But I mean, so many things are hooked up through our phones nowadays. And the army's coming out. I believe they contracted with SIG to create a new scope for their new rifle, and it's all about building in all of these adjustments so that people, your standard grunt, straight out of high school doesn't need to spend the time to learn to shoot, because unfortunately most of these kids coming into the army have never shot anything. It's not like 20 years ago or longer where everybody's from my age when I was a kid, we at least learned to shoot with a BB gun. But kids nowadays, the most they have is like airsoft, right? And airsoft is accurate, but not really that accurate. But I suppose, yeah, you'll learn sort of fundamentals of aiming. But my point is that they're trying to dumb it down. They're trying to use technology to make things, dummy proof. And one of the ways is by making the adjustments, making the reticles totally digital, so that you don't have to make the adjustments anymore. You don't have to think about wind adjustments or whatever. It'll automatically do it for you. That's I guess it's kind of cool. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But let me play a little bit of that booth visit video of that visit. Oh, here I want to just to answer some of the comments that some of the folks have been putting out there. Tim is saying Remington Thunderbolts, and this is a reference to the previous video. Yeah, Remington Thunderbolts perform about the same. A 1 out of 5 shots is a crazy flyer. I mean, there's a reason why they're nicknamed Thunder Turds, right? I've shot Thunderbolts. I actually prefer golden bullets myself, but they have a nice pop to them, so they cycle well, at the very least. And Pick responded to Tim Mooney saying, "It seems all American made 22s like that. Been talking to Boom about that." Hey, as long as it does go boom, I guess it's a good thing. I don't know about every American-made ammo, 22 ammo, because CCI has been pretty good. I mean, you're still going to get flyers with CCI Blazer or any of the bulk box stuff, but to be fair, CCI doesn't put out any of their ammo in just loose box Federal Unmatched is in a big loose box along with a lot of other things, but all of CCI stuff is in those trays. So that also helps in terms of keeping the quality up for that. And let's see here. Let me just move forward here. So we're talking about the XTRPS. Let me just show you that video.
Big launch for us as well is our XTRPS. Last 2 years, we've had a lot of success with our Veracity PH Precision Hunter with a heads-up display. We've taken it to the next level, made a lot of improvements and feature sets, and added it to our XTR for the XTRPS Precision Shooter. In short, you're getting the regular 3 to 18 or 5.5 to 30 rifle scope, and we're adding our programmable elevation knob. With the Burst Connect app, you're going to set up the scope. You're going to do the ballistic calculator. It's a regular BC-based calculator. Height over bore, zero distance, BC, velocity, elevation or density altitude, and you're going to program this in there. It is trueable, so if you don't get it right on the first shot, the better the better information that you send to the scope, the better the performance long range, down range is going to be.
So there you go. I mean, gosh, it'll do so much for you, I suppose. I mean, all you have to do is keep it steady and keep the crosshairs on. Do you consider? Here's a good question. Do you consider this cheating? I mean, if you're going to be shooting long range competition, I mean, the computer's doing all the calculations for you. I mean, you still have to be the guy behind the trigger. You still have to have your rifle has a decent barrel. You still have to shoot with decent ammo. And at that point, it's not like the app is going to develop your loads for you and reload and create custom loads for your rifle. But yeah, it's the technology is just mind-boggling. And hopefully I'll get a chance to review one of these in person. It's hard to do a proper test at a at a expo booth and really get any good sense of what I the quality of the image at long range and whatnot. But one of my buddies, Slav Guns, posted up that he thinks he's getting one of these soon to test out. So I'm eager to see what he thinks of it, and hopefully I'll get one of these to test out. I was able to test out one of their fast fire red dots a few months ago, but yeah, this is a whole different kettle of fish and a whole different price tier. So we'll see if they have it for their marketing department, if they can get one of these things out to me to test out. All right, and on my Moondog reviews channel, even I also posted this on the Moondog 2A channel. I posted a contest, or the announcement of the contest to win this bubble level. And if you don't know what a bubble level is, it's a spirit level that you can attach to your scope, and it'll show you whether or not your scope is leveled out. That's important because if you're resting your rifle on a bag or even on a tripod, and depending on what you have it on, the scope should be directly above your bore to be accurate. Because if you're slightly canted one way or the other, that what you're seeing isn't really jibing up to the ballistic profile of your bullet, because your bullet's going to drop straight down. It doesn't matter whether you're tilted left or right, but if you're thinking you're right above it and you're slightly tilted to the right, your bullet's going to hit somewhere slightly off from where you're seeing it in the crosshair. So having a little bubble level is just a simple to use tool to really help your long range position. So I'm giving one away thanks to Discovery Optics. And to enter the contest, all you have to do is, here, I'm going to post up a link right now. And if you haven't already, go to this link, and all you have to do to qualify for the contest is to subscribe to my Moondog Go channel. That's my travel channel. And send me a screenshot of your subscribe button and upload it to this page, and you'll be automatically entered in the contest. And this is actually, I'm giving you a little bit of a well, actually no, it's already April. What I'm thinking of this is for the month of April. So I'm going to do the drawing at the end of April, and you'll be entered into the drawing. So, and if you've previously entered any of my other contests where the requirement is to subscribe to Moondog, well, hey, you can send me the same screenshot. That's fine from the previous one. So yeah, no need to take another photo. All right. And in my Moondog Go channel, speaking of which, I posted up one of the last videos from my trip last year to the Paradox Museum in New Jersey, over at the big mall there over in the Meadowlands. And this doesn't have any music, it doesn't have any sound, but this is the kaleidoscope that you could look through, the human kaleidoscope. And it's kind of a trippy image here. Now, I'd heard, and I read somewhere that they are closing down, or the mall may be closing down the Paradox Museum because of unpaid back rent. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. The Paradox Museum's website is still up, and it's still saying that they are in the American Dream Mall. But I also saw a news article from January that the mall was closing them down. So you may or may not be able to experience this human kaleidoscope if you go to the mall. But let me know if you guys or anybody's out there in New Jersey or in New York City and can verify or deny or clear up whether or not that's true. If the Paradox Museum is still active or not. I don't know. So that'll be interesting. And kind of a shame, because it was kind of a fun thing to go through. All right. Let me ask for your help in creating a thumbnail for an upcoming video that I'm posting up this weekend, which is this is my visit over to Phoenix Flashlights. And they have a bunch of new EDC lights out there. And so, of course, the obvious headline was new EDCs. But maybe you have a better idea for what would be a good headline for that thumbnail. Let me know in the side comments right now if you have a good idea for what I should say in the thumbnail. And let me just see I've got a Austin posted up. I really like Discovery products. I have the ED5 to 25 on my 110. I liked it very much. I bought a 4 to 20 for my 22 LR. Unfortunately, USP, the Postal Service seems to have lost your package. Oh no. Do they include tracking, or do you know what happened to the package or not? Oh, that's terrible. Well, hopefully you get that cleared up. I don't know if you have to go through USPS or if you go through Discovery to get your tracking number on that, but I hope they find where that is. And here we go. Austin Sharp, for sure they do. This happens a lot just from in shipping from China. It'll pop up eventually. I'm not sure if the one you've ordered will be coming from China or from their warehouse. They have a warehouse now in California. I haven't visited it, but I'm aware of it because I talked to the folks when I'm at Discovery Optics when I was down in LA a few months ago, and I got to meet their head of marketing over there. And he's saying that they opened up a warehouse in California, and they're shipping some products from there that they have in stock, and also that is where you'll be shipping back anything if you have any warranty or repair issues. You'll be dealing with their warehouse in California. And Austin responded, I live in Northern Ohio. It's shipped from Los Angeles, or I'm assuming you're saying LA, as in Los Angeles, as opposed to Louisiana, LA. Last known location was Akron. Oh no. Okay. So hopefully somebody finds it and gets it to you in good shape. All right. Well, if anybody has any ideas for a headline, or if you do come up with some ideas for a good thumbnail headline, feel free to post it into the comment section after the live is no longer live and actually posted onto my website. We'll just move on. All right, folks, what you've been waiting for, we're going to go down the rabbit hole. In this case, we're going to be going into the world of comics. Here's some covers of that you may be familiar with. You've got G.I. Joe. You've got Transformers, but G.I. Joe and the crossover with the Transformers. And the reason why I bring this up is because a good friend of mine drew these, and that's, I think, is awesome. And who is this? This is Will Rosado, and he's a New York-based illustrator, and who's worked on G.I. Joe, New Teen Titans, Green Arrow, Detective Comics, Avengers. And when he's not drawing comics, he draws storyboards for networks, for streaming services, for TV shows. And for those of you who don't know what storyboards are, they're kind of like comics for drawing how presenting ideas for movies and TV shows and commercials before they get made. You have to sort of pitch the idea, and you can people are visual animals, so to be able to show people visually in the form of illustrations like a comic what's going to happen in that TV show, that commercial, and also when developing the plans for filming that, directors oftentimes will hire and production companies will hire illustrators to draw them, because you'd be surprised, or maybe not surprised, most directors and people in advertising can't draw worth shit. And I know, because I was one of those folks who worked in advertising, and I could draw decently. We'll probably tell you whether or not I could draw or not, but I could draw decently. But I was kind of a rare cat in that. Most of the guys that a lot of the folks I work with, really brilliant, funny guys who worked in advertising, yeah, their drawing skills were not that great, but they'll admit that. But that's why we oftentimes will hire an illustrator. Plus, also, even if you can draw, comic book illustrators are so much better, because that's what they do. That's what they do in and out anyway. But without further ado, let me bring up my special guest, Will Rosado. Will, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for joining me today.
Boy, I don't know, I was looking at those flyers with the 22 long rifle. I mean, I've had a bunch of those too. I've mostly shot the CCI and the Remington Federal. I don't know. It's always hit and miss with that stuff.
Yeah, and depending on the rifle, some more than others, depending on the ammo too, right?
I think it depends on the rifle, because I've shot it through sort of these cheap 22 pistol, the Walther P22, that thing. That's
got a tiny barrel. I got one of those. Yeah,
it's so horrible. And but then I would shoot it through other things, and the ammo's just fine. But yeah, anyway.
Well, thanks for joining me, dude. It's been like a dog's age since
it's been a while
since we talked.
I guess since you moved away.
and yeah, that's been since my kids were like teeny tiny.
Yeah, you were.
But you're still in Brooklyn, right?
I'm still in Brooklyn. You were my Brooklyn neighbor. But
and
yeah, I've been Brooklyn for life. It's I have a life sentence here. Yeah.
How's life treating you, by the way? How are things in Brooklyn?
We had a nice warm day last week, 80 degrees, and then this week it's been in the low 30s.
No, okay.
The chill, it just sort of, it's like
that's a big swing.
We're paying for the nice day, but it's pretty good. A lot of rain. Other than that, just relaxing, just trying to.
Well, I'm sorry, because that rain was here a few days ago, so that
yeah, I mean, hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully the summer's dry. I think last summer we had a lot of rain. It wasn't enjoyable.
Well, I hope that the summer is it's dry and not too hot. That's all I can hope for.
Yeah, hopefully it's not. Although I don't mind heat, but yeah. Anyway.
So, did you let's take a step back. Tell the folks where you grew up and how did you get into drawing comic books?
Well, from where I'm sitting, I grew up a mile away from where I'm sitting now. And how I got into comic books, it's kind of... So I started with cartoons first. So I'm Gen X. I'm like middle-aged Gen X. So I watched a lot of the Hanna-Barbera stuff, so like Space Ghost and Herculoids. Yeah. They had Hanna-Barbera had a Fantastic Four cartoon in the 60s. They had the robot in it, Herbie, I think it was called. And then Marvel had those little animatic comic features. They took the actual artwork, like Jack Kirby artwork or John Simmons, animated it. They had little intro theme songs. So I watched that. I watched Super Friends. And so I was already, and Spider-Man. So I was already kind of hooked into the superhero world. And then when I was about 8 years old, my brother gave me a stack of comic books, and that was kind of it. There was a little of everything in that stack. It's like Savage Sword of Conan, Avengers. This was like late 70s. So like George Perez Avengers, and a lot of Jack Kirby stuff like Black Panther and Machine Man and Shogun Warriors. And like they were based on the Shogun Warrior toy. Like there were these large robots.
Yeah. They were they were more than 12 inches tall. They're plastic ones. Now, were they originally like Japanese imports?
They had
obviously they
had to be, because at that time, not to get too deep into it, but the oil shortage caused a lot of the toy companies to reduce the size of the action figures. So they went from 12-inch to like the 6-inch figure, and then Kenner came out with the Star Wars figures. And
the little 3 or 4-inch.
Yeah. And then soon after, Hasbro did that to G.I. Joe, because G.I. Joe sales had gone down and sort of that line had kind of disappeared. They had I think they turned him into Action Man, and then it sort of, I guess, became discontinued.
And a lot of other things were going on in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the Vietnam War. There's a lot of anti-war, anything military in the 70s.
So my brother gave me a stack of comics, and that was kind of it. It was, I just read them every day, and I started to copy them because I was looking at these drawings. I'm like, wow, I want to draw like that. I want to draw these covers. So I would copy, and it just sort of kept going. I guess around that time, I started getting an allowance, maybe like $1 or a couple dollars, a couple of bucks. And there was a comic shop, or there was a candy, I don't know what kind of store it was. It's like a tobacco shop, candy store kind of thing. But they had a small wall of comics, and I would buy a comic on the way to school.
I remember some of those back then at the supermarket. They would have comic book racks.
Yeah, there was a time when you could find comic books kind of everywhere. The newsstand, the drugstore. Like, I used to go to Woolworths, and they would have they would have like the 10 for $1 repack of comics.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
And so it was. They had that store only had Marvel comics and magazine, Cracked, and a few other humor magazines. But yeah, it's how it started. My slow descent into the madness that is comics.
Now, what did your parents think about that?
I don't know what they thought. I mean, I don't know. I was just I was the youngest, so 2 older siblings. So I think I was kind of left alone. It was like, all right, he's going to do whatever. But I mean, I guess they kind of indulged me. Like, my mother would bring home paper from work, like copy paper. So I could draw on it, or I would ask her to get me a sketchbook from the art store near where she worked, or I would call her up at the job and say, "Oh, pick up a comic book for me."
That's nice.
At the train station. So, that's sort of evolved. Like, I'm sure they were worried. Because I'm in my room all day, drawing, playing video games.
What were you playing? It was an Atari, or
it's Atari, the 2600, and then we got a ColecoVision, and then and then I got a Commodore 64.
Okay, that's a step up.
And with the Commodore 64, I didn't have a disk drive. So
did you have a tape drive?
I didn't have a tape drive.
Oh, so just cartridges, or you coded yourself?
Yes, I would buy computer magazines. Copy the code, run, play it, and then turn it off. So
I know. Then you have to do it all over again. But that's great.
I did that for a while until they got me a disk drive, and then I play on the Commodores. Does the Ultima series?
Oh, that was good. Took what, like days to get through.
It was a proper role playing game, and what was cool is one day I went to a GI Joe convention in Dallas. I was flown down there. It was a cool event. But when I was coming back home at the airport, I'm sitting waiting for my flight, and I look over, and there's Richard Garriott, Lord British, who
Oh, no way.
He's from Texas, and
Yeah, yeah.
that company, Origin Systems, is a Texas company. So there he was, like unmistakable appearance. Like I wanted to go over to him to just chat briefly, but I was like, I'm not. I like to leave. Like to leave people alone. I don't like to bug them. But yeah, so anyway, so a lot of video game stuff. Then I guess eventually became the Genesis and Nintendo, and then yeah, that was, and then in the '90s PlayStation. But yeah, I was heavy into a lot of distraction. Like, I barely got through school. It was.
Now you went to the public through the regular New York public school system, right?
Yeah, I went to the High School of Art and Design. So I went to.
Okay, so you did specifically go to that. So that's at least that was that put you in the right direction.
Well, the high school is pretty, I don't know, famous. There are a lot of alum that are out there that have drawn comics. Like Neil Adams, Larry Hama went to the high school, who wrote G.I. Joe.
Were there any teachers, instructors there who were comic book artists?
No. No, there was a cartooning class, but I mean, if you were a comic artist, well, that's the next stop. School of Visual Arts is where, like the art college. After after high school, I went to School of Visual Arts, and that's where, like, Will Eisner taught there, and Carmine Infantino, who came up with the Barry Allen Flash in the 50s and sort of revamped Batman in the 60s, and Walt Simonson, who did a run on Thor in the 80s, and X Factor, and Fantastic Four, and Klaus Janson, who inker and artist. He worked on the Dark Knight series with he and Frank Miller on that. He and Frank Miller on Daredevil, and like they had, at SVA there were a lot of
a lot of well-known comic book artists. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it was amazing. It was especially growing up when we did, and reading the books we did, and then having them teach at the school, being fans. Klaus is one of my art heroes, so it was like really, and Simonson just was everywhere when he
really revamped Thor. He made Thor cool again.
They let him do whatever he wanted, and he did it. And a lot of the like that third Thor movie, to Ragnarok, it's like a love letter to Simonson. Yeah. There were some actual shots where Executioner with the two M16s. That's like straight comic. That is, they basically, and he's jumping out of the ship and shooting all the whatever's.
That was straight out of the. Didn't it wasn't one of the covers exactly that?
Yeah. No, it's amazing. So yeah, that early part of my life was just me in a room. I mean, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to get to the point where an editor will say, yes, draw my book, right? And at that time, editorial was less hands-on than they are now, because with technology, the editor and artists are the relationship's a little closer because we're in constant contact, email.
I see.
And usually editors today would like to see layouts before you commit to drawing a page. Back then, when I started, I get a script, I go home, I disappear for a few weeks, then I come back with pages, and like they don't know what they're gonna get. So there was a lot of trust, because they hire you based on your samples. It's like, okay, he's gonna do work like that. So then they give you the script and hope that what comes back is work like in your samples. So
it's a lot easier now also to make edits and whole changes. Yeah. So the expectation is that we can make adjustments now, and I want to see a lot of things now. That way we can make it's a double-edged sword, that being able to make changes much quicker.
Well, that's with storyboards, when you were mentioning storyboards, like when I started boarding, I did them on paper. And this was early 2000s. And I quickly realized that drawing storyboards on paper is, it's like, who's that? Sisyphus with this rock up the hill. And
yeah,
there's endless edits. It's storyboard, it's production. It's about like, try this, try that, try this, try that, until you get something that works. So I quickly transitioned digital with that stuff, and then soon after, my comic work went from drawing on paper to all digital.
So if your workflow now is entirely digital on tablet now?
Yeah, pretty much. It's it's nearly 100%. There are some pieces that I'll do on paper if the client wants it on paper.
Yeah. Who asks for that nowadays?
Well, so I worked on a book a few years ago. It's this Puerto Rican superhero. The book is called La Borinqueña, and it's there was a project I worked on with the creator of that book that we did chocolate wrappers, like chocolate bar wrappers.
Mm-hmm.
And you open a wrapper and there's like a little comic strip inside. And so I did that comic strip on paper. I also did, there was also some character art on the outside of the package that I did on paper, large, very large.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is because he wanted to have those pieces for gallery shows and museum shows. So he wanted to have actual physical artwork to hang on the wall at these shows.
Okay, that makes sense.
That was the reason for that.
Of course, you could have just taken your rough sketches on your tablet, before you clean it up, and then print it out too, though.
Well, yeah, no, I started them digitally and then enlarged and then printed them out large, and then lightboxed them onto a large piece of Bristol paper, like 3-ply, 2-ply, 3-ply Bristol, mm-hmm. And then inked it by hand, India ink and a brush, and so that book was pretty cool because I had there. So up until that point, so I was working on that book. I was kind of considered like a journeyman. Like I did a lot of comics, but wasn't a star. The big, big crazy X-Men crossover or whatever, or a long run on Batman. But so drawing that book, La Borinqueña, it got into museums, which was really weird. I had one piece in the Smithsonian Museum of the American Indian in downtown Manhattan. It was a show about the indigenous people from the island, from the Caribbean, mm-hmm. And
that's right, because you're half Puerto Rican, right?
No, I'm Puerto Rican. No, I'm all like.
Oh, you're full Puerto Rican.
Whatever the mix is on the island, that's what I am. It's like Africa, indigenous, and Europe. But so I had artwork in that museum, the Smithsonian Museum, and then I had artwork from that book in a gallery show in Old San Juan, and then I had a cover that I drew on paper, and on the Long Island Museum, which is another Smithsonian affiliate. So yeah, it became very weird that for most of my career I was like, oh well, just sort of working in obscurity, and then all of a sudden I'm in museums, part of museum shows. So it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Book, a lot of opportunities from that book. But yeah, so it's
well, there's a good segue into one of the questions that was posted out there. Who's the coolest person you ever met in person? Because I think this relates back to meeting Lord British. Did you meet anybody at? Did you go to the opening of that exhibit at the museum? Were you invited to that?
I missed that opening on the Long Island Museum, but I went to the one in Puerto Rico. There wasn't, there weren't any celebrities there. I guess coolest. I guess what. How would you define coolest person? I mean, I've met, like, for instance, I don't know if this is a cool person, but for a year I did 3D. I did 3D modeling, and
okay.
And I did a vanity piece for Tyra Banks. So I met Tyra Banks, right? Like her production company's Bankable Productions, and so at the end of every episode of America's Top Model, there's a little bank vault that closes, and
is that you? You did that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't animate it. Someone else did the After Effects, but I did the model of the vault.
You made the model for the vault door.
Yeah. We changed the hinge on the door, made it a B for Bankable, so I had to model that, and the door and all the tumblers, the whatever, the wheels, the handles. The spinning and the closing and the I don't think I did the light flaring out. I think that was After Effects, but yeah, it was a weird job. And then Chris Webber, basketball player, I did some stuff for him. For some reason, there was a time when everyone needed a website, and I was.
Did you design his website, or did you do 3D objects for it?
I did 3D objects for his website. It was weird. He came to the office. It's like, man, he's tall.
Of course.
I mean, I don't know. Todd McFarlane, if anyone is familiar with McFarlane Toys and the comics and Spawn. Comic. John Leguizamo. He's always at the Comic-Con.
Oh, and another famous Puerto Rican. So
well, he's Colombian, but he would always tell everyone he's Puerto Rican.
Oh, I didn't know that he was Colombian. I always thought, because I always went by.
Yeah. No, but yeah, for years he would tell everyone he's Puerto Rican. But,
well, in New York, you get so much more. You get so much more love and cred, right?
Well, yeah, I guess at his age, I guess he's a little older than us, I think. But yeah, like Puerto Ricans was sort of the
bigger community for sure than the Colombian, right?
They started. Puerto Ricans started coming in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So they were sort of they were like the new group. Yeah. Well, so I don't know. I've never. I I see people around. In Brooklyn, you see people, but I try not
true.
to bother them. But
who's your most famous neighbor? Or I guess not necessarily literally neighbor, but yeah.
Well, that guy from that chef show, Jeremy Allen White, it's on Hulu. Man, he looks like Gene Wilder. He was in Shameless.
Oh.
Why am I forgetting the name of that show? But I saw him shopping at the supermarket. he lives in the neighborhood. So.
For me, it was Anne Hathaway, but I actually never met her. But but Giselle did. She, ran into her in one of the bodegas. She apparently lived, I think, on
Yeah,
Court Street or somewhere.
well, yeah, where you lived, like that's like there's like a pocket of like people. Like Michelle Williams lived there. She was in Dawson's Creek. She was like with Heath Ledger at the time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and um, Maggie Gyllenhaal and the other her brother. I don't know.
Did Jake had a place? I saw him
And-
in Manhattan, but I never saw him in
I
Brooklyn.
And yeah, I don't know. They're around.
Yeah, there's people. I never ran into any of the Beastie Boys in my part of
Oh,
Brooklyn.
I saw them. No, I used to see them in Manhattan, like on Houston. Like I saw Mike D on a skateboard go by me. I saw Ad Rock,
Mm-hmm.
not Bleecker, on Spring Street.
Yeah, especially anywhere in the East Village or in the 90s, run into people all the time in cafes or whatever.
St. Mark, they were everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different city now. Now it's very I mean it's a little different out there.
Oh yeah, I mean I all the stores I used to frequent. I mean I was a regular over at St. Mark's Comics, so yeah, all those stores are gone now.
St. Mark's
dojos.
St. Mark's is in Sunset Park now.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They have an Industry City, and it's like they reclaimed these old factories and turned them into like they have like lots of shops and food malls, and they have there's an artisan community there, so there's like shoemakers and dressmakers.
Get out of here. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like a glass open studio, like a glass. Each room has glass that you can look in, and you see the guy making the shoes, like actually, cutting up the leather and putting on the sole and the heel, and it's kind of fascinating.
It's funny is that wasn't a few years ago. Well, I mean, it's probably 2 or 3 decades now. But I remember when there were still like shoe repair stores in Manhattan. You go by and there's a guy. I mean, aside from repairing shoes, but I mean, they basically were like building shoes from scratch. Because really, there's like most of it was gone.
There's a cobbler a block away.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so good. There's still folks like who have those skills. I had my like tailor down the street, and I had him make my custom combat shirts when I was playing airsoft.
Yeah, I wish I had because some of that stuff, it's sized. It's like it's not sized for American fit. It's like either it was too short or it was too tight.
Well, I inherited somebody else's. But this was back in when we first got into airsoft, and multicam wasn't it was not picked. It wasn't the official camo. It was UCP. And when Phil Force, they bought like a couple of spools of multicam directly from Cry over at the Navy Yards.
Navy Yard, yeah.
And they shipped it back to the Philippines and had them made into uniforms. Wow. So, because otherwise you have to get the full on Cry Precision stuff, which was a couple of $100 for a pants. So to be part of Phil Force, I had to get multicam uniform. So I got it from somebody else who was not playing airsoft anymore and sold me his uniform, but he was like 3 sizes bigger than me. Huh. So I had to take that to the tailor to have it all sized down for me.
Yeah, I remember there was one game you put on that you had us get or look for or buy, or maybe you sourced it, like these one piece like onesies kind of. They were like like mechanic uniforms, and mine was just a little too short. Just kind of, I couldn't wear that. But it was not. I wish, like, I liked that idea of just kind of the
just a simple,
just like it's like a
jumpsuit.
flight suit. It was like a flight suit.
Yeah.
But not.
It was tanker overalls the way I got.
Yeah.
You know, it was Army surplus, and it was like a check or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta find those. Let's see if I still have. I have a box with all that airsoft stuff. It's just kind of. I keep thinking I'll just throw it up on eBay, but I don't want to get in trouble with eBay.
So I know that gosh, it's already like an hour, and I wanted to get into one point since we're talking about airsoft. That when you were telling me once before that how you got into airsoft was because you're looking for props to draw G.I. Joe for the weapons, right?
Well, just in general, because a lot of stuff that I draw, a lot of stories I draw, usually there's a gun involved somewhere, or there are like special forces, ESU kind of vibe to a tactical, that whole tactical vibe. And so yeah, I needed I think the first thing I bought was the Cyma Glock. Cyma. It was just an
the blowback, the electric blowback one.
No, not the blowback. It wasn't blowback. It was just electric. I think I got it on Amazon or something. It's like $50, and like it looked good. Like it was great for reference, but then you get the bug. And I guess I did a Google search, and I think that's how I found Philforce. And and
and for you folks out there watching this, Philforce was my airsoft team that I joined back in the I guess early aughts to play airsoft, and they were a Filipino based. It was a team started by a Filipino diplomat, which is the reason why it was called Philforce. Sorry, go ahead.
So and it was tough because being in New York, and at that time I didn't have a car. It's just really difficult to get anywhere, especially just to get to these games, which are an hour and a half, 2 hours away. These fields, these small little fields, and it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of time and effort for. And you think a city, 8+ million tri-state area. Some games it would only be like 12 people showing up, and just kind of like, oh well, let's just do 6v6, or let's just do some woods ball, just kind of in the rain. And I think my first game was in the rain.
Was this probably in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, it's Jersey. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, this was fun. But yeah, so playing airsoft gave me like I said, I grew up drawing, reading comics, playing video games. I went to art school. So I was never in the military. So I never had that experience of suiting up, getting a loadout, walking around in the gear, feeling it out, feeling what it feels like to have like 30, 40 pounds of gear on. Like in some games where you have to take everything with you. And then when I went to gas blowback, it just weighed so much. Those magazines, I had like 8 magazines and the GBV, and it just so, and you have the propane can in the backpack, and it's just, and your food and extra BBs, and it's just like, wow, this is just. And that's just airsoft. Like I'm not out there, like I'm not an actual soldier out there. I'm just pretending. But it gave me an idea. It gave me an idea of like how it felt to have all this stuff on the plate carrier, and the pouch, getting my Molly pouches right, and getting the right sling for.
Oh no, that's a great point. That's what I
were,
love about your drawings is that you actually you could see the contents, or you could see the bulk that's in the pouches, where a lot of guys would just draw it. They're just squares.
What happened? So what's fascinating? So usually what I tell people is when I drew GI Joe the first time, and by the way, that cover with Megatron on it, the GI Joe cover, that was such a nightmare because that book was so late, and I had it in the cover. They didn't have anyone to ink it, so the assistant editor inked it. He had never inked before.
Oh no!
He butchered that cover. But anyway,
here, let me see if I can bring this up.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
So when I first drew GI Joe, it was my first job in comics at Marvel. I'm like 21 years old, and I was still, there's that cover. I was still beholden to the cartoon and the figures, trying to stay on model with the figures, and because that's what the fans wanted. They wanted to see that stuff, and so that was then. Then when I drew it the second time at IDW, I was about 20 years older, but also I had been playing airsoft and was I had a different idea of what I wanted to do with these characters. And since this wasn't a Larry Hama G.I. Joe book, it was a Chuck Dixon G.I. Joe book, I had a little more freedom with it, and I can do the loadouts I wanted on these characters, make them.
Here, I'm going to bring one of these up. Is this one of the IDW ones?
Yeah, that's one of the IDW ones. So you see up in the figure in the foreground there in the bottom left, that's Tripwire. So Tripwire, the old Tripwire had like a he's like a DOD minesweeper kind of guy. He had like the little minesweeper and some mines on his backpack.
The metal detector, yeah.
He was dressed in the padded protective gear, armor. So here, the idea is that, well, he's on an op. He's not going to be carrying around the thing and
the extra padded,
yeah. So I gave him a scar with an EGLM because I'm thinking, well, maybe he wants to light it up or something, or make things go, bang. I gave Beachhead, I think. Well, that's just looks like just M4. Flint has his shotgun. So some stuff stayed the same. Like Flint always has his shotgun. Tunnel Rat has the, I forget what he has. He has like a saw type of machine gun. And he also has his 45 in his shoulder. The revolver. Or the 50 cal in the revolver. Roadblock. Chuck Dixon told me that he spoke to some military folks down in Florida, and they said, yeah, Roadblock would have what is it, the M240 Bravo or something. Like he would have a big saw with him. Anyway, so like I started thinking about, well, each character, I want to give them something different. Give them their own loadout. Like Beachhead, for a sidearm, he has Beretta. Scarlet, I gave a SIG 226. Snake Eyes, I just left him with the 1911 and his Uzi, even though I wanted to change the Uzi. I gave another character MP7 because that's what I was playing with. And I'm like,
Was that what you were going to give Snake Eyes, an
yeah,
MP7?
I wanted to give him an MP7 because, again, I was playing with it at the time and on the CQB games that we were doing on Long Island and stuff. So,
was this a gas blowback one, or was this the?
yeah,
I forget who made the. Okay,
it was the gas one. And
there was an electric one that was
yeah,
pretty nice, but it was pretty weak.
yeah, the gas one. No, this MP7 was great. I even had a custom mag holder made for it. There was a maker
yeah, because those
custom.
yeah those mags are pretty long.
They were long, and then they had
that kind of square bit that.
Yeah, it's like what to call it, but yeah. So the maker made the holder, and I think there were like pieces of Kydex in there to shape them so they were Kydex to kind of clamp down on the mag so they didn't fly out. Yeah, so G.I. Joe the second time around, like it was great working on that. It was I got to do so at Marvel my dream was to draw the book, but I only got to draw 4 issues, 2 half issues, and then a Snake Eyes origin. Is that
I'm just posting up some of the comments.
Oh, which under folder 12?
I think it was is he referring to the shotgun back there?
Isn't that I think that's a Frankie or the
yeah,
the Frankie
the spas.
Yeah, because Flint, he had the little sawed off not a sawed off, he had the folding stock. I think it's the Frankie or something. It's not the Benelli, or I forget.
Spas 12 is what Tim's saying.
Spas 12, yeah, that's it. So so everyone had, and Cobra, I gave them the H&Ks. So all those polymer, like the G36 and the
yeah, my favorite.
Is it the G39? Because I had the GBB of that G36. And it was nice, and I gave Baroness that. I gave them all H&Ks. It was good. Like it fit them. Because those H&K, the G36 they were black and they had the red graphics on it, kind of matched with the red Cobra, black and red Cobra stuff. So anyway, so when I drew it at Marvel, I didn't get a chance to beat a regular penciler on it, but then at IDW I did an extensive, like I think I was on it for a year and a half, maybe 2 years.
That's a good run.
I got to do special missions story with Zartan and the Dreadnoks, and got to do my own Zartan design, and it's on my site. Like it's on the concept section. I did like I gave him some shotguns on the back, gave him a little baby Glock on a ankle holster, and some other Glocks here and there. I don't know. It was I had fun with that. But the thing, so when I drew it with IDW, I would read the message boards, and I noticed people were. I saw that people were noticing that how I was drawing them holding the firearms, that their fingers were off the trigger, and then they weren't muzzling each other.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. You can see that there, and the wrist position is correct, and the position of where they would have the rifles is correct.
Yeah,
at least, yeah.
So people were noticing that, and I was like, yeah, that's. If they didn't notice anything else, it was like they picked up on the fact that I was drawing safe gun handling in G.I. Joe, and that trying not to, they weren't muzzling each other or putting the trigger finger on there.
See that is a attention to detail. I appreciate
It was
that.
intentional, and you know, you know what happens when you're not careful, when the finger is on the trigger. Just look at Pulp Fiction, where they're talking to what's his face in the back seat.
Was it Daryl or is a
Clarence,
I
or forget his name, but he's talking to him and just blows his head off. They hit a bump and boom. But anyway, so yeah, so that was so playing airsoft was educational in that. Yeah, it was toy guns, but
but we practiced safe gun handling. You had to, because you know,
you have to. It's you don't want a negligent discharge. You don't want to,
right.
You know,
friendly fire kills.
Well, friendly fire. I mean, I saw enough. Anyway, some of those airsoft, like you see enough teeth.
Oh yeah.
Like people's teeth get shot out, or they have a BB lodged in their ear. Yeah, some gnarly.
Or their nose. Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway.
So yeah, that was yeah, and that continues. Like other stories I've drawn. It's
there we go. We had
Marvin. That's right.
Marvin. Thank you, Abigail. See, I could always count on somebody on the side chat to help us out.
Just shot Marvin in the face. Yeah, and after that are all the stories that I drew that had a lot of gun action in it. That were, it's to understanding all of that stuff. It helps. I mean, it's not important. It's not needed. It's not required, but for me.
But it does make a difference when there are some egregious errors. Like I'm just remembering, I think it was a Daredevil cover where Punisher is shooting Daredevil on the cover, and Punisher's got an Uzi that is like 4 times bigger than it should be.
Yeah.
And I remember that cover, like, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, I wasn't that much of a gun guy back, when I was a kid, but even then I was like, that is like way oversized.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that happens if you get caught up in it, and then you start getting upset at everything. Like when they have gunfights in a hallway or in a room, it's like, that is so loud. How are they able to continue hearing each other, having conversation? Like,
right.
Guns
where they're giving detailed explanations about what the plan is while they're shooting in a hallway.
Or when they have a Glock and they it's like, all right, take the safety off. It's like, where's the safety? Or like they mime pulling a hammer back on a Glock. I think that was in Walking Dead, the first episode, I think, or second episode.
I totally missed that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they're yeah. Or
that's that standard trope when somebody's trying to intimidate you by pulling the hammer back.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
No, it's like, I forget what the like what they tell the soldier to do, but it was a very deliberate sort of like that kind of thing. But they had it allowed. But also the thing I hate is whenever a character unholsters a weapon, they have to like
pull,
the slide. It's like, you would have one in the chamber already.
I don't even remember which show this was, but when there's that trope of where someone's got a gun drawn on somebody and is threatening them or telling them or talking off to whatever character, and then to emphasize that I'm meaning business, then they rack the slide. Like, what the hell was going on before this? You're pointing an empty an empty firearm at somebody. Okay, anyway. Yeah, we could go into a whole episode of just finding like stupid gun tropes on,
Well,
on
I
mass
mean,
media.
I had a period where I was when I was drawing Green Arrow, it was all about archery, and just kind of. I mean, I didn't take archery, but I'm I'm watching as much like uh this was the 90s, so I had to just rent a lot of those Hong Kong like action movies and like old like watch a lot
John
of
Woo stuff.
John Woo or Kurosawa.
Okay.
A lot of archers in there sometimes. Just kind of just getting a vibe of archery. There were before Google, just wasn't a lot. There wasn't
Yeah, so it
an
makes
easy
it
way to
much
find things.
easier to find references now, right?
Oh, much easier. I don't have to leave my apartment. I don't have to go to the library in Manhattan. I don't have to go to the video store. I can just google.com and just find everything, or Pinterest.
Yeah, it's all on YouTube, right?
Or I can go into AI and just say, hey, I'm,
Oh,
prompts.
we got to do a whole nother episode about how AI is affecting your industry. I mean, it's affecting everybody's industry, but
I worked on a few AI spots last year. And yeah, it's eye-opening. One spot, all the photography was done in AI. It's like, it's real crazy. It's, you can do storyboards in AI. They don't need.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, nowadays it's like I wouldn't even with just like ChatGPT and the other modules. I could at least rough in. I could see creative directors just rough in storyboards. Like, what you won't need to bring in an illustrator for the day just to get. And then also we do animatics. Like, there's no reason to go out to a production house.
Yeah, no.
To get those done, you could just do them.
I could do a line drawing. I could take that line drawing, feed it into a 3D thing. An AI app. It can turn my line drawing into 3D, and then it can take that 3D thing it created for my line drawing, and it can animate it. And it's kind of, for me, for someone like me, it's kind of great because I can visualize and I can work through an idea quickly.
Yeah. It's a tool.
It's a tool, like any tool, like the camera, right? It's like any, there was a time when cameras put portrait painters out of work because now you could just get a photograph of your family instead of a painting. You can get.
Yeah, we should go into a whole another discussion about that's the reason why there's modern art, right? I mean, that's the whole reaction of.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, what can you bring now? What as an artist, what are you going to bring? Well, everyone will be cubes and they'll have two eyes on this side, or my paint strokes will be very impressionistic, but it's not going to replace I've seen AI comics and I don't know, I think some AI stuff lacks a little soul right now, but what I'm worried about is the 10-year-old kid today who's going to grow up with it. And by the time they're 20, 25 years old, AI will be a little different than it is now. And
it may not even take that long. I'm just blown away by how fast it's gotten better.
It's only been 2 or 3 years, and it's just kind of it's quickly dominating a lot of stuff. There's this thing on Instagram I saw a few weeks ago. It was an AI movie, it's like not a movie, but it was an AI piece with Brandon Lee and Bruce Lee together in a field. And it was like, it looked like them. They were walking eyes were blinking. They were, wind was blowing. It was very atmospheric and evocative. These two dead, father son. One's an icon, and the other's just never really got a chance to do
Right.
much. Brandon Lee, but someone, I don't know, it's like a project. They did this AI not animation, a movie with them, just sort of in the fields together. They're just kind of and yeah.
So, and to Pick's comment,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm there. It's already taking jobs away, but it's just surprising to me that it's taking jobs away from industries that I didn't think it would take jobs away from when I initially thought about artificial intelligence 10, 20 years ago. That wasn't taking jobs away from filmmakers, from illustrators, photographers. Wasn't the first thing I thought that was good, that AI was going to be used for. I thought it was going to be used for like automated cars or something like that. But in any case, this is a bigger conversation, and I know we're well past the hour that we had. So I want to put a pin on that. I'd love to have you back because I want to get your take on how it's affected the illustration industry and how, where you think this is going. Because I've had some conversations about this with some illustrators that I know and former illustrators who, early on had to go into a whole nother field just because the need for illustrators has been progressively getting, less and less in publications, and as well as publications, many of them folding because people don't buy magazines anymore. So
adapt or die. I mean, that's kind of the thing.
Absolutely. But so I want to wrap this up. I there's so much stuff I want to talk to you about, but let me I want to put it out there to the folks. If you want us to hear more from Will, I'd love to have him on. But Will, I'd like to keep you on for just a little bit, just to give away some of the prizes that we talked about. And let me just bring this back onto the stage here. Okay, so here's a final clue for the brand, and the prizes for those of you who didn't catch that earlier. I'm giving away these Burris Fast Fire C patches. I'm giving away 3 of them to 3 winners out there, and all you have to do is type in the hashtag for this company. And let me bring this back on stage here. The clue is these are their various logos. Their logo. This company is a toy company, and their logo has changed quite a number of times over the years. And their current logo, as you can see, is the bottom right. But originally, as far back as 1952, it looked very different with a little boy. And then the logo that I'm most familiar with is the second one with the 2 kids in a house. So if you know who this is, and should be a bit of a clue, is that they make G.I. Joe, and their first letter is an H. So there you go.
There's a Netflix series that goes into the history of this company.
Oh, is there? Okay, I gotta catch that.
The toys that made us.
Yes, I know which series you're talking about. Yes. So, and I also want to give a shout out to Will here. Will is also going to give away a prize to one of the winners, and that is going to be a signed printout of his Snake Eyes. Was this a cover, or was just a
convention print? Just something to take to conventions to sell.
Oh,
it's
that's
11 it's 11 by 17, so it's like comic page sized.
That is super cool. So one of you guys out there, if you put it in the correct hashtag, will win one of these from Will. So that is something that I would want to hang up on my wall. So that is super cool. All right, so that's your final clue here, and I'll be drawing this at the end of this episode, but I also just want to give a shout out. As I mentioned earlier, or showed earlier, that I posted up a video that we're giving away the Discovery Optics bubble level, and I just wanted to, of course, point out that you can enter. You can enter all this month. So I posted up a link earlier, and I'll post up the link again. And you just have to post. You have to just take a screenshot of the subscribe button on my channel Moondog Go, and send me a screenshot that you have to be entered into the contest. And while you're at it, hit that like button right now on this live stream. And this is your final clue. There you go. So let's do the drawing here. Let me just bring this up. Share screen. And where are we? This is the giveaway tool. There we go. All right. So we only have 6 entries. So your chances are really good. So we'll give you guys 5 more seconds. Oh, did I misspell that?
I think so.
Oh, no. So yeah, don't use a Z. I was trying to see where Tim was saying, yeah, okay, sorry. No ZS. Yes. For everybody out there, it is spelled with an S. So, okay. Yeah. Cause if you misspell it, the software is not going to pick you up, for the entry. So, okay, we got one more. 7. All right. So everybody, Will, you want to give me just a quick countdown? I'll hit the draw button, and we'll see who wins the first 2 patches, and then the 3 patches, and then the 4th winner will get your illustration. How's that work for you?
Sure.
All right,
So,
let's start.
Just a single countdown.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
All right. So Tim Mooney, congratulations. Let me just take a screenshot of this.
So this is for the patch.
Yes.
The first 2 will be patches, and then.
I mean, I was gonna. We'll give away 4. How is that? I'll give away the 3 patches, and then the 4th one is your grand prize.
All right.
All right. So let's go with we'll draw again. Give me a quick countdown again, if you wouldn't mind, Will.
3, 2, 1, spin.
All right. And this next patch is going to Vadim.
Blah.
Awesome. Congratulations, Vadim. All right. And the 3rd patch goes to, you want to give us a countdown, and I'll hit the button.
3, 2, 1.
Abigail.
Right.
Abigail gets the Burris patch. All right. All right. And now for the Snake Eyes. Okay, go ahead and give me a countdown, Will.
Let's see. All right. 3, 2, 1, spin.
Hillbilly! Of course, he'll probably say, rigged, but yeah, he won it.
Yeah, I guess just
Congrats.
yes, send me an address. Get me an address to send it to.
Absolutely. I'll get that over to you.
Yeah.
And oh, sorry, I posted the wrong thing. Well, anyway, that is the link to the bubble level contest, but I was going to post up. So for everybody else, please email me at moondog airsoft@gmail.com. Put the hashtag Hasbro in the subject line and give me an address to send your prizes out to, and I'll get those out this week. All right, everybody. I want to thank Will Rosado for my buddy Willis. Do you still go by that nickname?
Yeah, I still use it.
All right. So I want to thank my buddy Will for being my guest here, and I really do want to have you back to talk, because we really only barely touched on AI.
Hey, we can talk advertising next time.
I don't want to totally bore everybody. So anyway, thanks everybody for being on the side chat. Congratulations to the winners, and I hope to see everybody again next week on the live stream. And again, thanks. I want to thank Will for joining us. Everybody, you be safe out there. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.